Hey everyone, I'm doing my John Maxwell and I'm on to the next section in here. This is again to build up my Maxwell leadership business and my ministry in spiritual direction so I can get an income coming in from it. For all the years that I've done spiritual direction, I've never charged because I've relied on that principle that you have received freely, so give freely. Unfortunately, in Canada, people do not support me. And I do not get gifts coming in monetary-wise. I think they expect me to live on fresh air. And the Archdiocese of Toronto doesn't help me to get paid employment. So I started doing this John Maxwell. And I'm hoping to go to America and to be able to live there and get a job there. Because Canada is for people who don't like to work. If you want to live in a socialist system where you can get money from the government, stay at home, collect benefits, then this is the right country for you. You should come here because you'll like it. You'll have lots of free time to go for walks, to go socialize, go out to the park, go to prayers every morning if you want. There's an 8:30 mass here next door. This country was never the right fit for me because I'm the type of person who likes to work. And you'll find that Zimbabweans in general are like that. I haven't wasted one day of my life sitting at home. I go out, I network, I talk to people, I tell them I'm looking for work. Even the security guards downstairs. I apply for jobs in retail, in banking, in health services, in government. Not even one job. So I would encourage those of you who like to be lazy, who don't like to work. You like to work for maybe 1 to 3 months of the year, and then you just sit at home for another 2 years, then you work again for another 6 months. I'd encourage you to come here. And also, if you're the type of person who says, oh, it's no big deal, I know you didn't fix my ID, so I can't work, so that's okay. Just call me when you have something available. This is the right country for you. That's the type of person they like here. They don't like people like me who are hardworking, who are ambitious, who like the capitalist system, who like to accumulate wealth not by sponging off others, but by giving something, giving my service, and then getting money in return. They don't like people like that. They like people who will say, okay, yeah, I've introduced a basic income. We'll just sit at home. And we'll just collect the income and then, we'll go back to work eventually. There's a type, or even people who like to be in the position where they're getting something for nothing. That's a type of person who will be happy in Canada because it's a socialist country. It's a socialist country. If it was up to me, I would have not been in this situation because I'm hardworking, I'm dependable, I'm reliable, I take direction well, I know how to lead teams, I know how to organize things. And those types of values, those types of qualities are not valued in Canada. They want to pay you minimum wage for that. Those types of things are valued by the Americans because they like to have things organized, they like to have things where, if somebody's got the leadership ability, they want to promote you. Not in Canada. In Canada, they want everyone at the same level, the same income, and then they have the very rich and they have the very poor. And they don't have a middle class. It's like Zimbabwe. It's the same model. You have growing tent camps, you have growing drug use, you have growing... In Zimbabwe, there's no drug use because the government's very hard on that. But that's how Canada is. And the area you live in also determines, like now we have rising crime in Hamilton, which we never had before. In the GTA, rents are so high that if you don't have family helping you, you can't survive. And so it's become a very socialist system. I like the capitalist system because I'm somebody who wants to give something in order to get something back. I don't want to just be on the end of receiving and receiving and receiving And the only way I can give something is through donations or going and spending a little bit of money on food or updating my clothes after maybe 6 or 7 years. That's not how I want. I just bought new panties after 4 years. So I don't want to continue living like this. If you go to America, if you look at their clothing, if you look at their sales, like when they have their Black Friday sales, you can buy a whole wardrobe for your new year if you wait for the sale. Here, you can't do that. A pair of pants is $40. If you want to get 2 pairs of trousers, that's $80, if you're lucky, on the sale. Things are just unaffordable here. So definitely it's not the right fit for me. Even when I was in England, I worked hard. I never missed a day off work. Even when I got knocked over by a car, I put frankincense essential oil in my bathtub and I went to work. I did my job. Here they don't value that. They'll say, oh, you did 5 years. Well, if there's another minimum wage job, we'll call you. Because they don't value people. And they don't value people like me who are hardworking, who are honest, and who are Christian. They value people who sponge off the system. And that's just the reality. It's based on my experience. So, if you're going to talk about implementing and living out Christian values, you have to look at the society around you and whether they accept those values or not. Because they obviously don't want me to use my gifts, to use my talents, to use my education, and to be paid for it. They just want to sponge off me and have it for free, and then take these talks, whatever I'm doing here, whatever I'm saying, and then implement it. Take it and put in their political platforms, put it in their schools, put it in their colleges, without even making a donation online to me, or without hiring me. That's what Canada likes to do. Because that's what happened to me at TD. I brought in a lot of ideas that the executive took. They implemented it. They didn't give me a good position after that. They let me go. And it's the same thing everywhere I've worked. I've helped to make things better. I've left things better than I found them, including at Teleperformance. And they have the audacity to tell me, you can go on the website and apply. If you find something, we might call you. I'll reach out to the recruiters. They don't value me. So, if you value someone, you don't bring them in at minimum wage and they've been in your country for the last 20 years. Or they've met all the scores, they've won Employee of the Month in your company over and over and over. And then you tell them, sorry, there's no job for you. We can't transfer you to America. We can't transfer you to England. We can't put you in a supervisor role. You just go out and look for something. That's how they're treating me here. Very, very badly. So that's why I want to go to America, with people who will treat me with gentleness and tenderness and who will reward me financially for what I'm giving them. That's what I would like to happen, because it's not happening for me here in Canada. It's not happening. And if it's another place, if it's England or if it's somewhere else, then I would like to see that happen. Because it's what's happening to me should not be happening. It shouldn't be that the people who are not doing the work, who are slagging off, who are playing the fool, who are cheating on their exams, who are taking their phones onto the floor, are the ones that are getting all the special treatment, having exceptions made for them, being rewarded with pay increases every year. They told me, the last HR manager before the HR director that's there at Teleperformance now, when I started there, she told me, we're not going to make any exceptions for you. I said to her, why? She's like, no, we're just not going to. So for good people, for people who are educated, who survived civil wars, who came to this country, helped build it up, served in the church, served on boards, served in charity work, they won't make any exceptions for us. That's the type of country Canada is. I got my tax slip from the church, not that I claimed for the donations I made, $53. I gave more than that, but I don't always put it into the envelopes that they give us. But it's good, because they let me go. They paid me 3 months severance. They were paying me because they couldn't fix the ID. I didn't have a job for the rest of that year. So I gave more than what I received in this country. Plus I give to the charity when I go get my groceries. I give when I see there's a need. If like for the fire aid, I gave some money. I give clothes to the church. So all that giving, they don't acknowledge. They don't want to reward me for it. They don't want to give me a job in the church. They don't want to give me paid work for retreats. They don't want to give me assignments to go work in Knox Shrine or work with the Jesuits in Ireland or in England. They don't want to give me anything. I take pride in paying for myself. I take pride in paying my own rent, in giving my services, and then meeting my responsibilities. With what Canada has created, I'm unable to do that. And I created good in this country. I was diligent, hardworking. I met my responsibilities. I took my lumps, and this is the reward that Canada is giving me. This is the reward. This is their way of saying thank you. Slagging off my reputation, telling me my scores were not good. I told my supervisor at Teleperformance Wahil, I said, they're saying my scores were not good. He's like, who said that? I said, go and talk to HR. Go and talk to the recruiters and see what they say to you. I won Employee of the Month so many times there, and then they're telling me your scores were not good because they couldn't find a job for me. That's what they do. That's how they run Canada. They put the blame on you when it's their fault. Even not being able to fix my ID, they put the blame on me. It's their fault. It's not my fault. That's how they run this country. That's how it is here. So if you want to live in a socialist system with great divides between rich and poor, no middle income, no hope of coming up in life, no hope of giving your services in order to get wealth back, then come live here. Because in America, you can get food for cheap, you can get clothing for cheap, your rent is reasonable. At the time, there's a book I read, at the time it was written, your rent, your electricity, your water, you could get everything for $65 if you were willing to work. You could buy your whole wardrobe for $200, and for that year you could have all your clothes for work. You don't get that here. And the competition with the internet providers, the bank providers, the community banks, you don't get that here. In England, they have plots that you can buy. You can go and rent a plot to grow your vegetables, to grow your food, whatever you want. And then you're responsible for that plot and you can look after it, plant your vegetables. I used to go with my cousin in Exeter. I used to go and help her to tend the plot and then pick the vegetables because I used to go visit her occasionally, not often. But I used to go and visit her and then she used to take me. We don't have that here. So you can buy your fruit and vegetable trees and all that for the summer. And then in the winter, if you're in a condo like me, it dies. The herbs and everything dies. Then you have to buy again for the next year. So you're dependent on the system. You're dependent on being a consumer because your hope of coming up in life it's not there. It's dismal. You're not going to get into a job paying $100,000 a year in Canada. You're not going to get that special treatment, that promotion. Why? Because you're Christian. They told me. They told me, we're not going to make exceptions for you. They told me at TD. They told me from the time I came here. So for me, it's better if I go to America. Because I want those exceptions made for me. I want that my Christmas, my Easter, my Good Friday, my holidays, I want them off. I want my religion valued, and it's not going to be valued here. So they should transfer me to America, or any company here. They should let me go and work in America. Because I work hard. I'm willing to work hard to get that 100,000 a year, 200,000 a year, to buy my own property with my own swimming pool, with a music room, with a few bedrooms so people can come stay with me, my friends from Holland and England and wherever else I have friends. I'm willing to do it because that's what America provides that Canada doesn't provide. Canada doesn't offer you that hope of coming up in life unless you think like them, you act like them, you dress like them, you accept their values. That's what happened to me. Why can't I get a job in the church? After all these years, I have administration skills. I've been helping in the church since I came to Canada. Before that, I helped in the church in England. I helped in the church in Zimbabwe. I grew up in the church, so why can't I get a good paying job in the church? Why? It's Canada. It's Canada. It's just the reality. So for today's chapter, I did the reading on the case study. It was 2 Corinthians 8, 1 to 15. And it's very clear in here that wealth is our first responsibility is to God. And out of that, if God gives that desire to us, we are generous to others. With our time, with our talents, and to the people, because it's in service of God, whatever we do. It's putting God first in that, and out of that comes our gifts, our talents, and what we do. And it's in our attitudes, in our faith, in our speech, in our knowledge, that leads to the giving. You can read the scripture for yourself and see. And also, it's not a commanding. It's not like you have to do it. It comes out of the sincerity of our love and our earnestness for others. Even everybody that went and commented on the TD, on what they were doing and how the corruption was taking place, even with Justin Trudeau's mother in her speaking, and with demanding an apology from Barrett Masrani. People didn't have to do it. They did it, and I did it because Canada's banks used to be the gold standard. Everybody wanted to work in banking. After 2007, nobody wanted to work in banking because it's too cliquey. It's too inbreeding. Because when you work for one executive, like I worked for Robert Linklater, they'll say, oh, what about Michelle? If you bring Belinda in, you have to bring Michelle in. And I didn't like working with Michelle. So, it's too cliquey. Oh, if you bring her, you have to also bring this one. If you bring this one, you have to also bring that one. Where's the assessment on my skills, my talent, on what made me a good executive assistant? Where's it done for the individual? It's not there. It's not there. And that's exactly what kept happening over and over and over. Oh, it has to be for everybody. Even John Maxwell says the reason that countries are going down is because the good people, the people that do good, the people that excel, the people that win Employee of the Month and deserve it are not getting the breaks. We're not getting the income coming in. They're treating us like dirt. John Maxwell has said it himself. Oh, you have to give everybody the Employee of the Month, or you have to give all the children a certificate of appreciation because you don't want them to feel left out, do you? That's why we're in this state. Oh, no, don't do that. Make sure you have drug sites available. You know, they might die if they don't get those drugs. You can't treat them that way. And now what's happening? Now those same people that said that are complaining because they went to a park and their child picked up an injection, syringe or whatever that was used by a drug addict, and threw it on the floor, and now their child has a problem. That's what's happening in Canada. But when people like me spoke up and said, don't do it, don't bring in these injection sites, and don't make this legal, we got treated like we were pariahs. That's how we got treated. It's the same thing happening over and over and over, and my life is going into poverty because these principles are not being applied. And then the second question was, why do you think Paul admonishes the Corinthians to finish the work of giving? So why does God admonish any of us to finish the work of giving? Because when we go back to God, we're going to give an account of our lives. Not of Robert Linklater's life, not of Michelle's life, of our lives and what we did with our talents and our time. What part does giving oneself first to God play when it comes to being generous to others? So if we give ourselves to God, if we put God first, we can be generous to others. If we don't put God first, we can't be generous to others. It's not possible. The whole concept about this is that when we give to others, the time will come that in turn, when they have plenty, they will give to us. That's how it's supposed to work. But the way our world is working is that the rich are getting richer and richer and richer, and the poor are getting poorer and poorer and poorer. And people like me, who are sticking to our faith, who are sticking to right ways of living, who are doing right by our communities, we're not coming up in life. We're not getting the financial rewards, we're not getting the benefits, we're not getting treated with the way we should be treated. We're not getting the exceptions made for us. It's always get more education, get more experience, get more, do more. So at what point do you actually allow me to come up and to earn a decent salary and pay me what I'm worth? Because it's a long time that Canada's been doing this to me. It's a very long time. I'm not interested in who likes me and who doesn't like me. I'm interested in the creation of wealth. I'm interested in freedom. I'm interested in seeing God's justice in real life in today. Not hearing from people in Zimbabwe that, and seeing on the news, our soldiers are actually now in this Democratic Republic of Congo war. I'm not interested in all that. I want to see food on the shelves in Zimbabwe, not for the rich, for the ordinary people, people like me who grew up in poor families and had everything taken away. I'm not interested in, Joe Biden's son, he had a problem with the law, so his dad got him off scot-free. I'm interested in seeing justice done for people like me who are falsely accused of lying to the police because employers will not tell the truth that I said no to being somebody's friend. And it makes no difference to me if that person likes me. I don't have to like them back. This thing plays out in life. And if you don't believe it, people criticize South Africa. Oh, South Africa's mistreating the whites. That's not the case. Go to South Africa and see how the whites are. Go and see their properties. The crime that is affecting people is affecting everyone in South Africa, not just the whites. What about what they did to us? What about what they did to the black people when they came in and they took the lands, and their brutality and how they treated us? What about that? Everybody says, screw that, that's in the past, right? But they'll make a big deal of the Holocaust for the Jews. There weren't only Jews that died in the Holocaust. There were Catholics that died, there were Poles, there were Ukrainians. They won't give Rhodesia the credit for taking in the Jews first, they'll give Canada the credit. It was our country that took them in. And the Jewish people know it, but they don't boast it. They don't tell everybody of how good Rhodesia was. The South Africans have got nothing on us. Nothing. And yet look at what is happening to Zimbabwe. It's sickening. When Canada had fires, who sent the firefighters? South Africa, the blacks. I'm tired of being treated like this. This is not God's justice, what is being done to me. This is man's ignorance, and it's racism. It's racism. And it's lack of support for me as an individual. It's personal. Why haven't they promoted me? Why haven't they made me permanent? Why is it always that, oh, what about Michelle? Or, oh, what about Shelley? Oh, what about Belinda? What about me? What about my family? What about all the work I've done in the church? When do I get my reward? When do I get the good salary coming in? And believe you me, God sees. God sees. Sitting at home, doing sedentary work, going from the bedroom to the table, no socializing, no going out, no money to spend, sponging off my family. Oh, please help me this month because I can't get a job. How many years does it have to go on before they actually let me go to a country that's going to reward me for who I am and for what I do? Because it's only the Americans that hire me. People that come here get sick of it. They go to America. Even people that were born here, they want to go to America because of how badly, how poorly you get treated in Canada. And HR doesn't balance the needs of the employer and the employee. They're too much for the company. And they got big lawyers with deep pockets, so you never get anywhere. It's a screwed up system here, and it's not based on God's laws. It's becoming just like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe doesn't have the hard drugs, but it's becoming, in Zimbabwe also, you have areas that are like shanty towns. Here you have 10 cities, right in the middle of Vancouver, right in the middle of Toronto. That's the reality. They can carry on. They might destroy my life. Now I'm pre-diabetic. I have a high blood pressure. My eyes, I can't see without my glasses. Did I do anything wrong? No, I didn't. I was exercising, I was eating the right foods, but I did sedentary work. I do exercise at home. I still put on weight because of the stress. I'm working to bring my blood pressure down. But you know what? Even if I die, at least I know I tried. Because this country is full of racism. It doesn't support the Christians.